Now, it was no long time before Penelope heard of the counsel that the wooers had devised in the deep of their heart. For the henchman Medon told her thereof, who stood without the court, and heard their purposes, while they were heaving their plot within. So he went on his way through the halls, to bring the news to Penelope. And as he stepped down over the threshold, Penelope spake unto him, Henchman, wherefore have the noble wooers sent thee forth? Was it to tell the handmaids of divine Odysseus to cease from their work, and prepare a banquet for them? Nay, after thus much wooing, never again may they come together, but here this day sup for their last and latest time. All ye who assemble so often, and waste much livelihood, the wealth of wise Telemachus. So long, when ye were children, ye marked not your father's telling, what manner of man was Odysseus among them, one that wrought no iniquity toward any man, nor spake aught unrighteous in the township, as is the wont of divine kings. One man a king is like to hate, another he might chance to love, but never did he do aught at all presumptuously to any man. Nay, it is plain what spirit ye are of, and your unseemly deeds are manifest to all, nor is there any gratitude left for kindness done. Then Medon, wise of heart, answered her, Would, O queen, that this were the crowning evil, but the wooers devise another, far greater and more grievous, which I pray the son of Cronos may never fulfill. They are set on slaying Telemachus with the edge of the sword on his homeward way. For he is gone to fair Pylos and goodly Lacedaemon, to seek tidings of his father. So spake he, but her knees loosened where she stood, and her heart melted within her, and a long time she was speechless. And lo, her eyes were filled with tears, and the voice of her utterance was stayed. And at the last she answered him, and said, Henchman, wherefore, I pray thee, is my son departed? There is no need that he should go abroad on swift ships, that serve men for horses on the sea, and that cross the great wet waste. Is it that even his own name may no more be left upon earth? Okay, something very subtle, I think, happened today. One of those things that, for me at least, with this archaic language, if you don't really hook into it, or when I don't really hook into it and pay attention to the subtext or the psychological impact that things are having, it's easy to lose that nuance. So let's break this down here for what I noticed, and I hope I'm right. I think I'm right. Or at least on the right track. There's no right or wrong with any of this stuff, but Medon, the henchman, is coming to Penelope to tell her that Telemachus has left. This is the first she's hearing of it. And before he can get out, the henchman Medon is going to Penelope's chambers to tell her of the wooer's plot. And before he could even get out that they are devising and planning the death of Telemachus, she has this kind of like, I'm finally fed up with it reaction. How dare they? I'm sick and tired of this. This is their last time that they're going to sup on our provisions, on our substance, while Odysseus is gone. How dare they consume the wealth of wise Telemachus? How dare they do this in the house of Odysseus, who was a king, and a justly king. He never spoke unrighteous toward anyone. While kings are likely to hate one person and favor another, he never did anything presumptuously. He never made assumptions about any man, ever. So not only are they consuming everything in his house, but now they're plotting and devising. And Medon goes, oh, if that were only what it was, no, they're also planning to kill Telemachus. And this is interesting because, okay, before she learns about the Telemachus part of it, it's like a situation where it's too little too late. Her finally standing up and saying, I've had enough, makes you wonder what she would have done had she not then learned about Telemachus. Would she have put an end to it somehow? What would she have done? Would she have acquiesced and chose one of them as a suitor so that the rest of them go away? Maybe. We don't know much about Penelope from this text, at least. Would she have made a stand, invoked the name of Odysseus and his divine heritage? Perhaps. But then she learns about their plan to take down Telemachus. And her perspective um, shifts in a way that's hard to articulate. So she's learning in that moment that Telemachus has left. But what she recognizes is that this plot against him and Telemachus being incredibly vulnerable, being on ships that are going to have to cross through this strait, that this is no longer about the wealth and prosperity of the house of Odysseus and the inheritance to Telemachus, both in terms of substance, but also in terms of the kingdom. But it's existential all of a sudden. That very last line really hit me. Is it that even his own name may no more be left upon earth? That these wooers aren't satisfied just with killing all the oxen and eating all the food and drinking all the wine, but they won't stop until the name and legacy of Odysseus and Telemachus is wiped clean from existence. And where does that leave her? Let's not overlook Penelope's experience through all of this. I don't think this text is really giving a lot of credence to what she's going through. I don't think it's necessarily making assumptions about her character, whether she's letting this happen, whether she's leading them on. You know, we get those sides of the story from the other characters, the wooers, from Telemachus, but we're never really let into Penelope's experience and perspective. This is one of the first times that we get that. And there is a reverence for the house that she's in, it seems like. She may feel helpless because of tradition, because of society and expectations and whatnot, but I don't think she's as passive, emotionally passive, as this story or adaptations of this have made her out to be. The last question that comes up for me is this setting up like a double dramatic irony in that, is she going to do something to set a trap for the wooers who are trying to set a trap for Telemachus? And we, the audience, know where all of the little chess pieces are on the board, or maybe they're domino tiles and they're all going to come tumbling down. I don't know. I'm curious how she's going to react to this. So let's just continue forward tomorrow with a little bit more of Book 4. We've only got 4 episodes left. Until then, okay, goodbye. Odyssey is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. The show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Odyssey, written by Homer. Theme song by Neuroflow. You can support this show and other shows like it by going to patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.